29 July 2002, a miracle happened. I was born. From that day onwards until right now, there have been several moments in my life where I've stopped and questioned the whole idea and point of life itself. Why are we all alive? Why are there plants, humans, animals, the Big Bang Theory? So many heavenly bodies like sun, stars, moon, and planet Earth. Who created all of this? Who created us? Well, I asked this question to a lot of people, and they told me it's because of God, it's science, it's philosophy, and it's linked with spirituality. But many did seem to agree on a common fact that all of this was just pure belief. And I couldn't agree more. It's been over 200 billion years since civilization began on planet Earth. And ever since then, all of us have been accustomed to think of it in a certain way, that this is what life is, this is what we do in life. No more questions were raised. And then I realized that the more I was looking for all of these answers, more and more questions started to pop inside my head. So I stopped and thought, okay, let me forget about the whole idea and point of life. Instead, let me focus on what exactly I'm doing with it. Seems to be pretty simple, but complicated at the same time, right? Well, I'm a 17-year-old girl, and you probably get the picture. It's not every year or every month, but every day of the week that I pray, God, I just wish my life could be more normal. And I know for a fact that many teenagers my age, and a lot of you here, would have already questioned this to God a lot of times before. We live in a world where we are told to be multidimensional, but unidirectional. When the opposite of this happens, our mind is all over the place. You want to get away from the drama, craziness, and madness that life has to offer. You want to start your lives afresh from square one, and that is when you want it to get back to normal. So what exactly is it to be called normal, and how does this relate with the bigger picture called life? The idea of normal is probably one of the most toxic stigmas out there, making it one of the many controversial topics that we discuss today. We as humans, we tend to judge and interpret people on the basis of their character, personality, identity, but most of all with the natural charisma that they carry around. I call this a controversial topic because of two very important reasons. It's been overstated and abridged at the same time. The word normal has a lot of different definitions, ranging from chemistry, biology, mathematics, psychology, even English. Second reason is that it's a topic that we don't talk a lot about, so we don't really know how the concept of being normal works and how it relates with life. Let's understand this better. How often do you acknowledge yourself or your life being called normal? Let me break it for you. Normal does not really exist. It's just a standard or a notion that we have set for ourselves in order to be followed. By creating the word normal and by labeling everything as normal, we tend to close our possibilities to newer discoveries. Now that we know which kind of things are normal and which activities are considered to be normal, we begin to label everything that happens out of the normal as abnormal. So how do we conceptualize all of this? The word normal is divided into two types. Type A focuses on normal versus mentally ill, whereas type B focuses on normal versus weird. Let's talk about type A. Type A involves the mentally ill who are not considered to be normal with respect to their psychological and biological aspects. A normal person, in fact, is said to be free from infection or disease, a person who is mentally and emotionally fit, free from depression and stress. Now, being depressed and stressed out is something that most of us find difficult to accept because it'll make us feel different from the rest, which in turn makes us, yes, you guessed it right, abnormal. We think of it that way because we're conditioned to think in a certain manner that anything that strikes out of the blue becomes abnormal for us. Having a depression or having a disease is totally okay, but it's not something that we must show our anguish upon. We live in a world where we worry about stress. That itself triggers hormones and makes the process even more stressful. Type A does not exactly give us a whole new point of view for figuring out normal, but it does give us a conception about how it has impacted the lives of the mentally ill. How would you define yourself? Crazy, weird, unique, or normal? This is where type B differs from type A. The word normal is like an illusion. What is normal for the spider is definitely chaos for the fly. And maybe that's the reason why I don't have a presentation slide put up for my talk. Well, it's not every day, or should I say it's not normal that a 17-year-old girl like me gets to have so much attention from such an eminent crowd of people. I'm not going to let the slides take away even a tad bit of attention away from me. When we think of it in this prospect, molding ourselves to try to meet the standards of the status quo by trying to fit in seems to be a very difficult thing to do. We try to fit in because we think that it'll make us different from the rest. Maybe God wants you to stand out. Let's remember this. Standing out does not mean that you're standing alone. Focusing on standing out or fitting in is not going to do anybody any good. But at the end of the day, you are going to lose something a lot more precious, your individuality. Let me share one of my own experiences related to this. So 4 years ago, I was introduced to this concept called the Model United Nations, where high school students like me get to represent various countries in United Nations organizational committees where we discuss and debate world issues and find solutions for it. It was only until grade 11 that I started attending a lot of these Model UN conferences in various capacities, from being a delegate to being an international press reporter to being a chairperson. It was also around this exact same period of time that I had injured and dislocated one of my lower backbones. Because of this, I wasn't able to go to school for almost 3 whole months. The major problem that I faced here was that I wasn't able to cope up with my studies or my syllabus as easily as I did before. When I actually went back to school after the really long break, I had a totally different reception from my school and classmates. They told me that I had changed and that I wasn't normal like before. They called me crazy and weird for not concentrating on my 12th grade and that I was more interested in all these extracurricular activities. They told me that I wasn't normal like before because of the 3-month rest that I had at home because of my injury. Even when I felt that I was completely normal, people around me made me feel that I'm not. I did what I did because of the love and passion that I had for it. I did not attend MUNs because it made me stand out from the rest. I attended them because it made me grow holistically. It taught me debate, diplomacy, politics, and public speaking. I knew that I was being myself, and I did not let any of these people stand in my way as obstacles. Here's how. We try to act normal and blend in with the rest because A, we're afraid of public opinion, and B, we're totally insecure about ourselves. We're either too self-absorbed or the exact opposite of it happens. We tend to act and behave like the rest so that they won't call us weird. But why? Who are we doing this for? Is it making us happy when it prevents us from doing something that we love, have passion for? Conquer yourself. Conquer all your fears and insecurities. Have control on your mind and on what you do. Unless you remain true and honest to yourself, you will definitely lose your identity and originality. Let's together recreate the definition that we have for normal and change the aspect of looking at someone from others' perspective. You clearly don't need 100 million people to validate your existence on Earth. Conquering ourselves may or may not happen. It requires hard work, patience, and most importantly, belief, which is all very difficult to harness, but not impossible unless you give it a try. So how would you define yourself in the best way? Yes, my idea worth spreading. Normal has a lot of different dimensions. Be your own type of crazy, unique, weird, out-of-the-box creative person you wish to be. Because the people who think they're crazy enough to change the world are the ones who do. If you ask me how I would define myself, I'm not going to say that I'm creative or ambitious or goal-oriented or competitive. But all of these words put together define me. And that is my name. I'm Athrukshna. And I am my own kind of normal. Society is going to label you. It's going to push you down and say all sorts of things behind your back. They say there are only 2 important days in your life. The day you were born and the day you die. Let's redefine it. The day you were born and the day you realize why. My name is my identity. And I don't let any random third person on earth to question my existence. Yes, I'm going to say it again. I'm Athrukshna, and I am my own kind of normal.